If you've ever been on the Oregon coast in winter, you know it's not the postcard version of the ocean. No sun, no soft waves, just gray sky, cold wind, and fog thick enough to choke you. The kind of fog that feels alive. I'd spent most of my life fishing inland lakes, but 2 years ago, I got a job crewing a small charter boat out of a little place called Garibaldi Bay. Locals called it the Drowned Coast. I thought it was just a name, a bit of dark humor from old fishermen. I was wrong. The story I'm about to tell isn't one I share easily. People look at me funny when I do, but every word of it happened. And sometimes, when the tide's low and the fog creeps inland, I swear I still hear them calling. It was late November when I joined the Mara Lee, a 32-foot fishing boat owned by a man named Jacob Miles. He was in his 50s, grizzled, quiet, and the kind of guy who didn't talk much unless the sea made him. His first mate was Tony, a chain-smoking jokester with more tattoos than teeth, and the third man was me. We'd go out for crabs mostly, setting pots offshore and hauling them back at dawn. Long, cold nights, endless waves, and more coffee than sleep. But the pay was good, and I figured a few months on the water might help me forget the mess I'd made of my life back home. One evening, while we were prepping the lines, Tony pointed toward the horizon where the fog was rolling in. "Better hope it doesn't come in thick tonight," he said. "The drowned ones don't like visitors." "The what?" I asked. Jacob shot him a glare. "Don't start that ghost story crap." Tony grinned, ignoring him. "You never heard. They say the bay's full of men who went down in the storm of '68. Whole fleet disappeared one night, never found a single body. Folks say they still rise when the fog's thick enough, looking for someone to take their place." Jacob slammed the cabin door, cut the talk, and finished loading. Tony winked at me. He doesn't like hearing about them. His old man went down that night. We left just after midnight. The water was calm, but the fog rolled in fast, blanketing everything in white. The world shrank to the size of the boat. Nothing beyond the deck, but thick, endless mist. Jacob switched on the radar, but it glitched constantly, flashing random dots that came and went like ghosts. "Probably just the fog messing with the signal," he muttered, though I could hear the unease in his voice. By 2 a.m., we'd dropped our last pot. The sea was eerily flat. Even the gulls had vanished. Tony lit a cigarette and leaned on the railing. "You know," he said, "the drowned ones were supposed to be seen on nights like this." "Cut it out," I said. He smiled, exhaling smoke. "You hear them first. They whisper your name from the fog. Then they climb aboard." Before I could answer, a sound broke through the stillness, faint, hollow, and rhythmic. Clang, clang, clang. It came from somewhere out in the fog, the sound of metal striking metal, like a buoy chain, except slower. Jacob straightened up. "No buoys out this far." Then came another sound, a voice. Low, distant, carried on the wind. "Jacob," we all froze. The voice came again, closer this time. "Jacob, Tony dropped his cigarette. You hear that? Jacob's face went pale. Inside. Now. We scrambled into the cabin and slammed the door. Jacob cut the engine, and for a moment there was silence. Then something bumped the side of the boat. Hard. The Mara Lee rocked violently, the coffee mugs sliding off the counter. Jesus, what was that? I shouted. Jacob grabbed a flashlight, shoved open the door, and shined it over the rail. Nothing but fog and black water. Then, just for a second, I saw a hand. Pale, bloated, gripping the edge of the hull before slipping silently beneath the surface. We should have gone back right then. But Jacob was stubborn, said it was just debris. He fired up the engine and turned us toward the coordinates of our first pot. As we moved, the fog thickened, swallowing the light. The air grew colder, unnaturally so, and a sour smell filled the cabin, like rotting seaweed and old blood. Then we saw it, a dark shape ahead, barely visible through the mist. Another boat? I asked. Jacob leaned forward. No one's supposed to be out here. We slowed as the shape took form, an old fishing vessel, covered in rust, half sunk, but somehow upright. Its name was barely visible on the side, Mary Ann. Tony whistled. That's one of the ships from the 68 Fleet. We drifted closer. The deck was slick with algae, nets hanging in tatters. But there was something else, movement, figures standing motionless along the rail. At first, I thought they were mannequins, but then one of them turned its head. Their faces were gray, eyes black and sunken, water dripping from their mouths. Tony whispered, "Holy hell." The figures started to move, slow, jerky, like puppets pulled by invisible strings. One raised its arm and pointed at us. Jacob gunned the engine, but the boat didn't move. The fog around us had thickened into something solid, pressing in like wet cotton. The Mary Ann began to drift toward us without a sound, her dead crew still staring. Then the radio crackled. Jacob. It was his father's voice. I know that because Jacob dropped the wheel and backed away, whispering, "No, no, you're dead." The voice came again, stronger now. "You left me down there, boy. It's time you came home." The deck shuddered. Something heavy hit the hull. Then another and another. We looked out, dozens of hands slapping against the side, pulling, grasping, trying to climb aboard. Tony fired a flare gun into the fog. The flash lit up everything, pale faces, open mouths, empty eyes. The ocean was full of them. Hundreds of drowned men, rising with the tide. Jacob lost it. He grabbed a rope and shouted that he was going to talk to his father, that he could still save him. We tried to stop him, but he shoved past and leapt overboard. The splash was muffled by the fog. "Jacob," Tony screamed, leaning over the edge. The water below glowed faintly green, and for a second we saw him floating, arms outstretched, before something pulled him under. The glow spread, pulsing like a heartbeat beneath the waves. Then the fog began to move. Not drift, move. It coiled around the boat like smoke, and from within it came whispers. Names, our names. Tony, Eli, come with us. Tony bolted into the cabin, slamming the door. I followed. We locked it, backed away from the windows, and prayed the engine would hold. The hull groaned as something massive brushed against it. A wet hand slapped against the glass beside my head, leaving streaks of dark slime. Tony fired another flare through the window. For one brief second, I saw them, faces pressed against the glass, grinning. The light hit their eyes and they vanished, leaving nothing but fog. I must have blacked out. When I came to, sunlight was streaming through the cabin windows. The fog was gone. The ocean was calm still. No Mary Ann, no Jacob, just me and Tony. We sat in silence for hours before the Coast Guard found us. They said the boat's distress beacon had gone off around 3 a.m., but there was no sign of the other vessel. They searched the area for weeks, never found Jacob, never found wreckage from the Mary Ann. Tony quit fishing the next day, moved inland. I tried to too, but the sea never really lets you go. Last summer, I went back to Garibaldi to visit an old friend. I told myself I wouldn't go near the water. But on my last night, I walked down to the dock. The fog was rolling in again, slow, heavy, swallowing the lights one by one, and from somewhere far out in the bay, I heard it faint, hollow, rhythmic. Clang, clang, clang. Then a voice drifted across the water. Eli, I froze. Dot, 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 it's cold down here, the fog thickened. And through it, I saw the outline of a ship, dark, ancient, and waiting. Figures lined the rails, motionless. One of them raised its arm and pointed at me. I turned and ran. Now, every night, I dream of that sound, the slow clang of metal on metal, the whisper of waves against a hull that shouldn't exist. And when I wake, the air smells of salt and decay. I haven't been near the ocean since, but sometimes, when the fog rolls in deep enough, I swear I can hear the sea calling my name.